Oh, so you helped Tom with all the things he is working on? Tiguan questioned, attentively looking down at Adita as Holdy and Kieran were busy competing for who could get the furthest out onto Tiguan's horn. It was a very one-sided competition, with Kieran already hanging from the tip by one hand, Holdy barely having made it out from the base while clinging on with both arms.
Yes, I was sent here to assist him in his endeavours and to guide him on certain matters as well. It has been very enlightening to help him. He has so many things I've never seen before. Did you know that there are actually 118 elements, but a lot of them destroy themselves almost immediately, so you have to make them?
The slightly tipsy artificer replied jovially. Yup, sounds like something he would say, Sapphire confirmed to herself, chuckling a little. She wasn't sure if she had heard that one before, but it might just have gone in one ear and out the other. No, that is so interesting. Tell me, have you been working on anything for Ray yet? The dragon responded with a big smile, steering the conversation onto what he actually wanted to talk about.
Ray? No, I don't think so,
the artificer replied thoughtfully, taking a moment to ponder. Tiguan did seem a little saddened, though he tried not to show it. Adita didn't seem to notice, but Sapphire sure did. Oh, I see.
It is okay, Tiguan. I got to try the parachute. I got to fly again, and Jarek lets me come along every now and again.
Oh, that is good to hear. I promise that if Yiltz lets us stay another night, I will take you for a nice flight as well, all the way above the clouds.
Watch out for condensation,
Adita added perfectly innocently. Tiguan gave her a bit of side-eye. There was something absurd about a nerd who had spent most of her life underground, giving advice on flying to a combat dragon, but that was clearly lost on Adita as well. Oh, of course. I will be quick about it. Have you flown much in bad weather?
Who, me? No. I didn't learn to fly until I was a grown woman. You don't need it inside the sanctums. Not very often, at least. I actually had to take lessons before coming here in case I fell off or some other accident happened.
A grown woman? But the sky, the freedom.
Oh, it isn't so bad. I like it inside. Did you know I didn't even see the sky without glass between until I had to go and work on one of the, Wait, can I say that? On the thing, yes.
She gave herself a bit of a reassuring nod, Sapphire giving a quick scan to see if Paulin was around, which, delightfully, she wasn't.
It was so strange. I hadn't considered that it was the windows that were cloudy and dirty. It was so clear, like it had just been freshly polished.
Oh, I see, the black dragon responded absent-mindedly, processing what he had just been told. Are you quite sure?
Oh yes, very sure. I would sit and look out the tiny little windows whenever I had the time. It wasn't very often. I always wondered what was out here. Now I know, she stated with confidence.
You might have a little bit left to see, I think, Sapphire added, sighing mirthfully as she shook her head.
Oh, of course. But it is still all what was outside the window back then. Inside, outside. Now I am outside. It's so exciting.
Maybe one day you will get to see even more of what is, outside. The dragon went in his sweet, friendly tone.
Oh yes, maybe one day. Who knows? Not now, though. I have to learn from Tom. Help Tom become a real engineer, not make Paulin mad. Oh, so many things to do.
Of course. Might I ask what you have been working on?
Oh yes, we have so many ideas. I think I am about ready with my idea for Jarek's machine gun, but we must make it run more reliably before it is time to worry about cooling. Tom has been looking to keeping the keep warm during winter, which should be greatly appreciated, I feel.
Oh yes, that will be very lovely, I am sure.
And of course we have much to prepare for with spring construction work. Schematics, preparations, plans, and he has so many things to teach me. I believe Lincosta has finally discovered how to make her corruption triggers work for the proposed mines. I think it helped that Jelena sent her something to copy, but don't tell. Wait, who is it I wasn't supposed to tell? I do not know. Oh, but I do know where they intend to put them. And I promised to assist Lincosta and her father in manufacturing them. And Tink is very busy, of course. He and Junior have been doing such a great job making a lot of the parts we need. I believe they are nearly ready with the molds for casting water pipes, just like Tom wanted them. I still don't understand why they are so big and heavy. I would just use copper.
Casting water pipes? The dragon questioned, clearly intrigued, and Adita's enthusiasm was palpable as ever.
Oh boy, now you have done it.
Adita proceeded to explain a bunch of technical things, which Sapphire honestly didn't understand. It all made her feel a little silly for thinking that Ray and Tiguan would have helped Adita to be a bit more normal. Now, she just had Ray and Tiguan both listening to the artificer be her normal self instead. It left a bit of a strange taste in her mouth. Was there anything wrong with that? The hope had been to try and nudge the artificer away from being all work, but they were all perfectly happy, and Adita wasn't chasing after Tom, at least for the moment. So some progress had been made. Oh, what the hell, let him be. At least Tiguan won't let any of the boys pick up her skirt anytime soon. Sapphire thought to herself, as she leaned back and just enjoyed the show, which did go on for a fair bit. She could tell from both Tiguan's and Ray's expressions that they understood exactly as little as Sapphire did, but they were putting in a good effort to seem like they were listening.
So, hopefully we will be able to heat the beds using the excess heat running through the secondary low-pressure loop, unless we aren't running the small engine, in which case we will heat the secondary loop directly by means of a heat exchanger to transfer heat from the high pressure to the low-pressure loop. You know, in case the engine isn't running. Isn't that clever?
Yes, definitely, the dragon replied with a nod, doing a fine job hiding just how little he had understood. Saf knew that face when she saw it. It was like looking in a mirror, after all. All she had cared about was the warm beds at night. That sounded pretty grand to her ears. But what of anything for, flying?
Oh, we did uncover some interesting things, though I am not sure I can talk about that,
Adita answered as she glanced around to see who might be listening. There was the work crew, which Sapphire had to admit she wasn't entirely clear on either. They might not be in on the same shit that was going on, or maybe they only had some of it. Either way, probably best to keep them, at least, semi-out of the loop. Oh, I understand, but maybe Tom has been working on something? Do you know? The dragon questioned, leadingly.
It is okay, Tiguan. He has been very busy, and he let me use the parachute, remember?
Oh, right, yes. When was the last time you had to go? Tiguan questioned enthusiastically, as his attention switched from Adita to Ray. She was currently trying to comfort Vigon, the kid's pride having been bruised after he had lost yet another round of Dragon Tag, as the kids had inventively called it. He was coming around, though, as he played with one of the nice puzzle boxes they had been gifted by the Inquisition of all people.
It has been a while, Ray admitted a little shyly.
Sapphire let out an audible curse to herself. How the fuck could they forget that? She had loved the damn parachute, and they had definitely had the time. They had just forgotten. And now is pretty much winter. Fucking hell. Maybe we'll get a nice clear day at some point. God damn it, Tom. I blame you for this. Oh, Tiguan replied, evidently surprised by the answer and not in a happy way.
Oh, it is fine. We haven't had the time at all. There has been so much to do all day we can barely keep up.
I know the feeling. Porter either. They have been missing so many hands and haven't gotten any new ones at all. I am carrying a notice written by the nice old lady that she wants some volunteers to come to her keep. New recruits. She wanted me to carry it and find some people I liked for them. I do not really know what to do with it though. I do not know many people at all, and the Inquisition might not like it.
Hey, Tiggs, if you want, you can go talk with my brother Heiko. He works at an inn called the Sweet Dragon.
Sapphire spoke up again. He's a real people person, and he's a guard. I'm sure he'd know a few candidates. Otherwise, there is always the races. Tell him Sapphire Raylan sent you. Oh, thank you, Saph, the dragon replied, actually giving her a head bow. That wasn't something you saw every day. Then again, this wasn't an ordinary dragon. Tiguan was rather special, to put it bluntly.
Oh, don't mention it. Do remember to let him know that if the people he sends aren't up to snuff, I'll whip his ass.
Oh, okay. I will be sure to tell him, the dragon replied cautiously, Sapphire grinning a bit. There was no way in hell he was actually going to convey that part. But who knew? He might end up dancing around it in an amusing fashion. She could already imagine poor Heiko trying to work out what the black dragon at his door was on about. Poor fella didn't have the best of luck when it came to picking up indirect meanings, after all. Oh, and if he's seen my sister, Viper, do try to remind him that he should tell her to come this way. We could probably do with another trader swinging by in the new year. Or at least, Dereva and Highstyle could. I will be sure to let him know, Tiguan stated more confidently. Thanks, man. I owe you one. Oh, no, it is fine. It is no trouble at all, the dragon insisted predictably. If anything, it is me who should be thanking you. You sure? I could have a chat with Tom about something flying-related needing to get pushed up a little. Call it even? Sapphire countered with a bit of a cruel grin. A dragon shouldn't go around giving away favours. Gotta have a little respect for one's own time. Especially when said time came at the cost of a juicy deer a day, more or less. Oh, Poor Tiguan looked rather conflicted at that proposition. Sapphire chuckling to herself. I'm messing with ya, she finally went with a snicker, before the dragon could make any promises he didn't have to. You let them know. I'll see what I can do. Deal? Oh, okay, deal, the dragon replied with a nod, still seeming a touch uncertain. So, you heading out tomorrow morning then? She questioned, as she looked about the hall. The hour was already starting to get late, and the festivities showed no sign of slowing down. I do not know, Tiguan replied, matching her gaze around the room. Perhaps there shall be better weather the day after, he vent, as he laid eyes on his 2 ground crew currently busy playing dice with some of the construction workers. And, much to her horror, or more accurately their misfortune, Tom. It did not seem to be going well for them at all. Well, they are gonna die. Lucky them, having a dragon so nice, he will even cover for his own crew drinking with excuses. Sapphire thought to herself with an amused huff, and trying to imagine what Grevy's reaction to that might be. Jerix wouldn't give a fuck as long as he was allowed in, but Grevy would likely have them stand on parade to get shouted at for something like that. Well, if you do stay the night, I hope you don't mind company. Oh, never. Yilt's always said I was a people person. It's normally just not mutual. Oh, buddy. Well, it didn't seem to Tom like they would be getting rid of their newfound guests too early the following day, unless flying with half-drunken crews wasn't too much of a concern. Tiguan would certainly be struggling to get much actual work out with his 2 ground crew, who were apparently named Kalch and Tonzai. It was at least partially Tom's own fault, but the 2 of them really sucked at Maya. They had remembered the game from the festival last time they were here, and managed to talk some of the construction crew into a game of it. With Tom teaching, of course. It was an enjoyable time, and he supposed he could chalk it up as him doing his duties to get the kids their big play uncle for one more day. While Tiguan's 2 crewmen had fared rather poorly, the construction crew had proved far better suited to the game of deception. The ability of a builder to lie his pants off apparently carried over between worlds, which was both hilarious and disconcerting. But they had a good talk about the work done at Dereva while they were at it, as well as the new barn and planned workshop at Bismarti. They, of course, had a few loud suggestions about what had been done wrong, 2 of them even leaving halfway through the game to have a look at the handiwork, returning about 20 minutes later to proudly proclaim that, "Don't worry, boss, they ain't putting us out of business anytime soon. Fuckers can't even carve a dove joint." Why bother? Screws and brackets are faster, Tom countered with a shrug. Only if you don't know how to use an axe, you funny-looking fella, one of the rather gruff women of the group replied merrily, taking a swig of her mug. And those screws? Gotta cost a fortune, so they do. We make them ourselves, and most of it is just nailed together. But hey, I guess you aren't exactly blessed with power drills around here now, are you? A what now? Oh, do I have something for you? Now, it's definitely not for sale. But who knows, maybe one day a certain factory could turn out a few more, if you catch my drift. I'll be right back. Come on, Jackie, I want to blow some minds. Collinger won't be happy. You know that, right? At Ray's request, Sapphire had gotten up early to help out with breakfast. She could always take a midday nap later, after all. Heron and Unkai had been overworked like crazy trying to put something together for the extra people. Or, more rightly, Unkai had. Heron had almost managed to pick things up to a regular working speed, but not without complaint, of course. Saf did make sure he didn't get to just sit in the corner as they all worked. Once a lot of the prep work had been handled, Sapphire had set about readying the tables, finding the Bismarti family as well as Victoria, Sisu and Yilts already discussing at the head table. There was hardly anything out of the ordinary, so she just started setting the table, passing in amongst them as they had their little discussion, taking it nice and slow to pick up on any delicious gossip that might result. It wasn't her fault she wouldn't mind knowing what the plan for the day would be a little earlier. "Are you sure that we can't stay another night? Half of them are still suffering from yesterday," Yules had questioned, innocently enough.
"Your two lads especially."
"If one embows to the point it interferes with their duties, then one should reconsider their profession. We leave in 30 minutes, and that is being generous," Victoria countered, clearly not buying that excuse. "But the weather, it isn't exactly great either," Yules tried cautiously, rather quickly getting shut down. "Nor is it likely to improve. In fact, it will only get worse. We may be spared on this first leg by waiting, but doing so will only give us worse and worse odds as we carry on towards the capital. No, we are going."
"I agree. We should leave as soon as possible. If conditions do improve, we will benefit tonight.
"We will not fit under roof in the village, even if they are rather fond of Yultz and Tiguan," Sisu interjected, arms crossed and standing tall. Saf hadn't interacted much with her as of yet, but from what she knew, the lieutenant matched Grevy's personality to a T. She certainly looked like she knew what she was doing, or at least believed so. "Yes, we might share the name, but there is only so much space to go around," Yules replied with a weak chuckle. "Very well. Could I have maybe an hour after breakfast to get ready? Just, you know." "Very well, but don't expect me to let you get away with that once we are back in the capital." "Of course not. The lady would never allow it."
"So, an hour after breakfast. Do you wish for a send-off?" the Nook questioned, as Saf spent a little time rearranging the cutlery for the lady's plate, ears perked all the while.
"A quick salute will do. We shall see you again come spring, I feel. Though I doubt we will be seeing much leave during our time back in the city," Victoria replied with a neutral expression. "Without taking into account our inquisitorial friends, of course."
"I thought you would all earn leave by now."
"We have, but there is a war on. I am expecting garrison or training duty. Such is the life. At least once all of this is over, those still standing will get to enjoy the spoils. I believe you are quite familiar with that sentiment yourself, Lady Nanook."
"Of course. So, fresh batch of recruits. Didn't it take years to get Jarrix ready for battle?"
"They are Royal Guard dragons. They are the tip of the spear. Or will at the very least become so one day. No, we would be training civilians, I feel. Militia dragons. Any willing to lend a hand. A few months will do for those, especially if they know how to fight already."
"I see. Very well then. Sapphire, how far along is the kitchen?" "Oh, shouldn't be too long. A few minutes." "Very well. Once you are done, would you be a dear and ring the bell? Also, wasn't it Unkai and Heron today?"
"Yes, ma'am. They needed a hand," Sapphire replied curtly, without any malice in her voice.
"Heron's fault?" the lady questioned almost rhetorically. They had been through this song and dance before.
"Heron's fault?" Sapphire just confirmed, as she rearranged the last few forks once more.
"Duly noted. Now I think you have been listening long enough. We do not need a second Esmeralda now, do we?"
"Of course, ma'am. I shall go ring the bell then. You lot plan in peace." The officers did look at Sapphire a little funny, but the Nook seemed to find it amusing. But off she went. Breakfast had been a quick and uneventful affair. The food wasn't anything special aside from the leftovers from the day before, and at least half the people present were swaying in their seats. The dragon crews were hurrying a fair amount, something which didn't go too well as Kalch spilled his plate on the floor, making a grand old mess. Ray had, of course, been quick to help pick it up, Tiguan watching from the hatch leading to the greeting hall. Jarrix and he had slept inside for the night, while Grevy and Baron remained outside, though graciously the Black Dragon had let Grevy borrow his brand new tub, as Baron had taken up residence where Adril had previously spent the nights. That left just the older Black to face the morning dew and light misty rain that had rolled in. Tiguan naturally apologised for Kalch as the ground crewman swayed a little, looking like he wanted to try and help, but Couldn't really work out how, as soon enough the mess was gone, and Ray was running off with it. Saf chuckled a little as the man looked after her in evident confusion, still swaying gently side to side. After a moment to process, he elected to just go get another plate and try again. He was last to finish. It hadn't taken long for the dragons to get ready following the meal, the largest point of work being loading Baron up with the saw. There had been some contention on just who had to carry it, Grevy deciding that of course it had to be her, or more correctly, she seemed to just assume it would be her. Baron and Victoria had apparently discussed ahead of time, and decided that Baron would do it. As they put it, "We do not know what weather is in store. We need not repeat what happened coming here." Grevy looked like she had been slapped in the face, but she took it without complaint. And so the venerable Red was made ready to fly. The construction crew was split amongst Grevy and Tiguan, which to Saf at least looked like plenty of load to put on the two young dragons. Tiguan, of course, had his nice new tarp as well. Grevy was adorned in her armour, which surely wasn't light either. Tiguan was also a bit larger than her, even if it wasn't much. Jarix was the smallest out of the three of them, but being a blue, there was a fair bit more wing to him for said size. Today that wouldn't matter, though, as the young blue was staying behind. With preparations made, goodbyes were said. The Nook and Victoria had one last exchange of words as Tiguan nuzzled Ray. He apologised that they needed to go already, said he was so sorry about yesterday, and thanked her one last time for the very nice gift. He promised he would get her something from the capital when they came back in spring. "Someone believes it is an open and shut deal then," Sapphire chuckled to herself for the dragon's assuredness. Then again, he might just be planning on pulling strings or simply begging until they let him back here. "Very well, that shall have to do, I am afraid. Mount up and tie down. The water only stays hot for so long. Lady Nanook Bismarty, it has been a pleasure. I am confident we shall get to enjoy your hospitality again. Until then." Colonel Hershaw let out in a raised voice as she turned back to Baron, the old Red holding out a foreleg for her to climb up. In a few well-trained and fluid movements, she had made her way to the base of his neck. "Formation, form V on lead. We make for the town of Yiltz. The namesake buys the first round." Saf glanced to Lieutenant Yiltz, who rolled his eyes from Tiguan's comfy-looking saddle. "If so, then you have the first round back home." "Acceptable. Baron, in your own time."
"It has been a pleasure, Lady Bismarty. Best of luck with the bound one. And Jarix?"
The venerable Red spoke, turning his attention to the young blue. "Yes?" he replied, tilting his head a touch.
"Try not to turn too civilian. You have a drill for that now."
"Right. Got it," the blue replied unsurely, casting a quick glance at Tom, who just crossed his arms and huffed. And so Baron turned away, and with a short bout into a gallop he leaped airwards, the old scarred wings carrying him, his crew, and the heavy plate armour skywards. Tiguan and Grevy soon followed, forming up behind their formation lead, as they turned for the edge of the island, quickly growing smaller on the horizon. Behind the keep, a drill watched wordlessly and alone.